I meant to comment.
Okay.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's really good to see you. I was just saying this is, I think, one of my favorite Shabbats of the whole year. It's, you've done first day Rosh Hashanah, this place is filled, it goes all day. I think there were 1,000 people in here for the teen service. You do second day Rosh Hashanah, and it's like, so who's still left? It's like the family is still here. So Shabbat Shalom, Shana Tova. I'm incredibly happy you're here.
Madeline, where are you, Madeline? Hi. We want to invite Madeline and your family. Madeline is having her bat mitzvah tomorrow morning, and we want to invite you and your family to come light the Shabbat candles for us. Share
going to continue now with Lecha Dodi on page 22.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת מקבלה. שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, תשמענו אל חם מיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, בשם ותפארת ונתילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת מקבלה. לקראת שבת ובנלכה, כי מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נצוחה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת מקבלה. התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך אורי, 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 אורי. שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת מקבלה. בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה. תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת מקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, בני שבת מקבלה.
We are on page 20 for Shalom Aleichem.
שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. בואכם שלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון. מי מלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
So I had lived in Israel for a while, 2 years, but it was 2 separate years. And intellectually, if you would have asked me, what is Shabbat like? I would say, well, it's different. But it had been so long since I had lived there, I had forgotten what that actually felt. I could just tell you that it was different. And this summer, I was just reminded of that when, oftentimes when I think of these blessings like Baruch Hu, I imagine that the entire world, every Jew on the planet is all facing the same direction, sending their blessings that way. And there it almost feels like the world withdraws. This calm comes, it is a mess on Friday mornings. I mean, we are talking the supermarkets are a nightmare. It is a nightmare. And people are rushing and buying everything because everything closes. When I was in college, I didn't plan ahead ever, week after week. So I would literally fast once a week because there was no food once a week. And I would survive on chocolate milks I had in my refrigerator until the sun set the next day. I grew up. But when you get there, then about 2 p.m., the markets start to close. And by 4, suddenly you notice all the cars are off the street. And the sun is still up. And then slowly it turns in to dusk, right before the sun sets. And it's silent. The streets that have been busy all week and were just crazy a few hours ago are silent. And all the weight that you have felt from the week, it just kind of releases out of you like bubbles from the bottom of the ocean. And so as we stand up for the Baruch Hu, and oftentimes, at least for me, I'm thinking about sending those prayers over there. Of all the liturgy that we've been through over the past, I think it's been 48 hours, but it feels like 2 weeks now, of Rosh Hashanah. Feel your souls get lighter and rise as you move into that relaxation of this Shabbat, this incredibly peak Shabbat that we have right between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Even the sermon tonight is thought to be one of the higher sermons, which is why we have someone quite special here tonight who's going to be speaking in a little bit. Please rise. Take a big, deep breath in and close your eyes. Feel where your feet are on the ground. Feel where you are in time and space. And please join us in the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kivut Malchuto.
Please be seated. Page 34.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך ובביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
If you'll please join me in the English on page 41. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come. The song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more. The song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Introduce our beautiful musicians. We have Colum O'Rian and Eric Shoney and Dan Zillerman all the way over there on the piano.
And so we reach the point where we're going to say Misha Berach, a blessing for those who are in need of healing. As a community, we are praying for Rusty Holden, Liz McMahon, Shireen Zalas, Susan May, Gail Loggy, Rick Silverman, David Goldstein, Maylene Dollinger, Deborah Pratt, Frank London, Jacqueline Cohen, Neil Rabinovitz, Carol Baroff, Bob Tandler, and Ann Rosenfeld. If there's someone else who you are praying for their healing, if you will please share their name when my hand passes over you. Audra Weiss. Mishaberach Abatenu v'imotenu Avraham Yitzhak v'Yaakov. Sarah Rivka Rechav Alea Hu Yivarech et Acholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion, for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and a complete renewal of spirit. And let us all say amen.
Amen. I want to teach you part of this healing blessing. It doesn't have any words, and some of you already know it, but if you haven't heard it, the end of it ends with something that sounds like a siren to me, and which makes sense that it's a calling out for people that are in need of healing. And it goes like this. So when we get to it, you'll be able to join us. It goes like this. We'll be strong and we'll be healed.
We're going to move to Vishamra.
ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם. שמרו
moment, we are going to rise for the Amidah. And if you but I'm going to have you jump a little bit ahead. If you look at page 48 here, this is, as I told you, this is a special Shabbat. The entire year, we skip over a certain section, but if you look halfway down the page there, you see a little asterisk, Shabbat Shuvah, that's tonight. This is literally waiting for tonight. We're not going to do it again for a year. And so, it's a big night here. Please rise.
So, if we're we're actually going to sing tonight the High Holy Day melody for the Amidah. So, because that's the only way I know how to get into it. If you've been coming to services, you'll recognize this tune.
Wait, there's been services.
I mean,
I thought this was the only one.
I meant to Rosh Hashanah services.
Oh, Rosh Hashanah. Okay, sorry.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avoteinu v'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, Zocher. חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו ואחווה זוכרנו לחיים מלך חפץ בחיים בספר החיים למענך אלוקים חיים מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים וחסד, מחייך הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. קיים אמונתו לשני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומיתו מלך מלך מימית ומצמיח ישוע זוכר יצוריו לחיים ברחמים ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני חיי הכל.
Thank you, Colin. So it is my honor to invite up Rabbi Kushner, but before he comes up, I just want to give a little background on Rabbi Kushner. So Rabbi Kushner is best known for, and he's going to probably get in trouble for saying this, out loud, but so be it. I have the mic at the moment. Is one of the more significant rabbis, you could argue, in American history. If you kind of look at what's happened in Judaism in the past, maybe going back, and I think maybe 17th century, we get very mystical, and then it just shuts down. Some argue that it's because of Shabbat Service. We have a false Messiah that all these people think like, oh, that's the Messiah, and then it turns out the guy converts to the other religion. Turns out he wasn't the Messiah. And false messiahs, they occur often. We have one occurring right now inside one of the movements where you can walk around Israel and there's pictures of a person up there and it says, Hamelach HaMashiach, the king, the Messiah. They think this rabbi who's dead was the Messiah. And because of that, Hasidism kind of shuts down and mysticism, just don't talk about it. And it's not really, it's in small circles in America, but it doesn't really take off until Rabbi Kushner. Rabbi Kushner was the person who bridged that gap in our country, who began writing books that introduce, at that time we had 50% in America, 50% of the Jews in America, 50% in Israel, and it's really what brought mysticism to America through all of his books. And so whenever you hear in any synagogue, and I know we have people all over the country online, whenever you hear rabbis referencing mysticism, it really does start with Rabbi Kushner kind of reintroducing that to America. And so, I'm sorry, it's true. Now you can have the mic. And he's shaking his head at me. Okay, Al Chet Shechatanu Lefanecha. I got a few days left. There might have even been a rabbi this last Rosh Hashanah day that was quoting a certain Rabbi L. Kushner to keep it anonymous during their Unatana Tokaf Kavanah.
I'm assuming you don't want this.
This is fine. Yeah.
You do?
No, I'll stand.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. I just
Okay.
want to make this the right way.
I get, oh, it's a whole deal here. How's that? Nope. Is it on? Yeah, that's good. Okay. Well, Rabbi Bauer, the last time I had such a sweet introduction was when the man who was going to introduce me at the last moment was taken ill, and I had to introduce myself. I want to talk about computer games. I remember the first computer game we ever got. Since hardly anyone owned computers in those days, you had to use your television set for a monitor. By plugging a cable into the antenna jack, you turned your TV into a video monitor. Then, are you ready? You could play ping pong in monochrome. You operated a little paddle that moved up and down along the side of the screen. The ball was actually a white pixelated square. It moved back and forth horizontally. With enough coordination, you could get your paddle to intersect the trajectory then, and whereupon you heard the game soul sound effect. Bip. And so it went. Bip, bip, bip. After you got good at it, you could crank up the speed. Bip, 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 bip. People in our home who shall remain anonymous played it for hours. A few years later, Atari became the rage. As I recall, Atari initially had 4 different games. My favorite was one called Adventure. It was your basic Dungeon and Dragons game. with different castles and hidden doorways. There were even whole areas that were invisible. Our whole family got into it. The kids, of course, quickly surpassed their parents. They would come home from school with new tips and tricks. Some of them were even undocumented. One of the most interesting came home from junior high school with our daughter. In a particular place in the Black Castle, the diligent searcher could find a small white dot, too small to be noticeable as a regular game object. Indeed, if he would find it, you would probably think it was a glitch in your monitor. But by taking this dot back to the starting screen, however, you could enter a hidden, otherwise inaccessible room. Entering the room had absolutely nothing to do with playing the game. All you would find in the room was a rainbow and the name of the person who designed the game. For all I know, every computer programmer does something like this. Somewhere behind some hidden wall, available only to the initiated, there was another room, and it had some strange thing inside it, namely the name of the guy who designed the game. For all I know, everybody who designs a computer game hides their name somewhere inside it. What I want to know is, why is it so hard for us to find the signature of the Creator? A decade or so later, one of my sons brought home from college an even better computer game. This was not one of those video arcade contraptions with primitive little characters chasing one another around the screen, or spaceships shooting at alien invaders. It didn't even require split-second visual reflexes. It's a new breed, he told me. It's called virtual reality. You play it by entering it. Your only chance at winning is by imagining that you are actually inside it. Instead of asking, how do I win the game, you ask, what would I do if I lived inside this game? At the beginning of that game, called Myst, raise your hand if you vaguely remember it. This is a dating computer. Okay. At the beginning of the game called Myst, you look at the screen and find yourself on an island. There's a dock and a forest and buildings and stairways. The graphics and the sound effects, even then, were very convincing. There were no instructions, no rules. You go wherever you want to go by moving the cursor and clicking. You can move anywhere you like. You wander all around, and wherever your curiosity leads you, there are things to learn and to pay attention to and to discover. Remember, there were even machines that you could learn how to operate, and a library full of books you could read. After a while, the dedicated player will discover how to leave the island and go to another mysterious place. Devotees said that the game was properly played over weeks and months. And the purpose of it all? Why, of course, to figure out what you're doing there. You can see the religious parts sort of sliding in. But to do that, you have to first figure out how the place works. What still fascinates me is a game whose purpose is for the player to discover the purpose. Virtual reality, spiritual reality, this ain't no game. What's going on here? Why am I here? Are there any rules? What are they? How does my behavior affect what's going on? Religions and traditions about religion are the collected rules of the game. They claim to tell us how life works, and if we play by them, we are rewarded with understanding why we are here, with what is usually known as the meaning of life. Now, while my new computer reality game may have been frustrating and difficult to learn how to play, at least I did have the comfort of knowing it was designed by somebody. I may not have been clever enough to figure out its purpose, but it did have one. Life, on the other hand, does not come with any such guarantee. This got me to wondering, what if there were a virtual reality computer game that approximated real life? I mean, if we could design such a program, what would be the object? How would it work? The way I see it, there are only a few rules. The first rule of the game of life is that you cannot decide when to begin playing. One day, out of the blue, you realize, oh, you're playing. Someone or something else determined when your game would begin, and it wasn't your parents. They may have known about the birds and the bees and even set out to conceive a child, but they didn't have a clue it was going to be you. And now that they've had a chance to meet you, while they most likely love you, they probably would have picked somebody else. In religious language, this means that you are a creature. Someone else made you, and you are neither its partner nor its puppet. You are its manifestation, its agent, its child. The second rule of the game of life is that you cannot decide when to stop playing the game either. One day, out of the blue, you're dead. For a slogan on the box of the computer game of life, we could use something I once saw on a t-shirt. Life, you're not going to make it out alive. But that means there's no way you can win the game by staying in it forever. No matter how many points, toys, honors, conquests, dollars you accumulate, sooner than anyone expects or wants, your game will be abruptly over. You'll hear a little chime, maybe a buzzer. The keyboard freezes. There's a little rotating rainbow pinwheel. The screen goes blank. The game ends without warning. Nothing you acquire, accomplish, or believe will have any effect whatsoever on when the game ends. But there's good news. Dying does not mean you lose. It's what you do before you die that determines whether or not you win when you die. The third rule, just to keep you on your toes, is that each player is issued apparently random, undeserved gifts and handicaps throughout the progress of the game. Figuring out why you got the combination package you did transforms all disabilities into gifts, just as refusing to figure out why you were issued what you received transforms all gifts into disabilities. My father, alav hasholom, used to say that all men are not created equal. Some get dealt a full house, others a lousy pair of twos. The question, therefore, is not whether you deserve the hand you were dealt, but how you decide to play it. The fourth rule is that points are awarded whenever you can discern the presence or the signature of the Creator and then act in such a way as to help others see it too. The presence of the Creator is not just in objects, but in actions, thoughts, and feelings. Not just in sunshine and happiness, but in agony, struggle, and death. Remember, finding the presence of the Creator and then acting in such a way as to help others find it too is the only way to accumulate game points. Fortunately, you don't need to go anywhere. You can find it wherever you look. And the last rule of the game of life is that everything is connected to everything else. Therefore, life is over-brimming with meaning. Most of the time, we are oblivious to it. We go about our lives as if every event were an accident. And then something happens, and we see the connection. We are astonished that we couldn't have seen it until now. All creation, one organic unity. There probably aren't any coincidences at all. Throughout all of creation, just beneath the surface, joining every person to every other person and every other thing in one luminous organism of sacred responsibility, we discover an invisible lines of connection. Now that's my idea of a pretty good game. And the high holy days, they are our way of reminding one another that we are all, know it or not, like it or not, players in the great game.
The rabbi asked me, well, how do we follow that? What can we do now? It's so beautiful, so helpful. So we'll sing a song of gratitude. I'm going to teach it to you. It only has 2 words. And the words are, everybody say Hodu and Ladonai. So thank you to the Creator. And it goes like this. Hodu Ladonai. Hodu Ladonai. Let's just try that much. Yeah, that's coming. Let's do that much. Here we go. Hodu Ladonai. Hodu Ladonai. The second part goes, Hodu Ladonai. Hodu Ladonai. Hodu. So maybe like every time that we sense the Creator, we can sing to the Creator. So the second part goes like this. Hodu Ladonai. Hodu Ladonai. Hodu. Put it all together. Hodu Ladonai. Hodu Ladonai. Hodu Ladonai. Hodu Ladonai. Maybe we earned a point there.
Please rise.
Aleinu, 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 aleinu.
During these days of awe, when we are looking within and then we're looking on the outside of ourselves, we're trying to find those invisible lines of connection. And the hard thing of life is that oftentimes they can be just that, totally invisible. And then every once in a while, sometimes the words from a rabbi, sometimes the words from a book, are like a fog that rises into the sky and lets the invisible lines of connection light up, where you can see the connection, you can see the lines, you can see how it's all one.
I
Please be seated. We reach the point in our service we remember those ancestors which came before us that are no longer here. We remember those who passed away in the last 30 days. Audrey Marshy Larman, Chaim Harton, Ori Danino, Carmel Gatt, Hirsch Goldberg Poland, Alexander Lobanov, Almong Sarusi, Eden Yerushalmi, Thelma Jean F. Taylor, Myrna Grossman, Barbara Felton, Bradford Goldman Baru, Christopher St. John, Dr. Robert McGang, Michael Chaim Berkovitz, Dan Asher, Lori Shinkman, Leah Teplitsky, Matthew Weiss, and Jane Bunin. We remember those whose passing is on this Shabbat, the yahrzeit of their passing. Donald Eggins, William Atkins, Achava Bass, Albert Belfer, Charlotte Montwood Bernard, Sharon Balog, Mimi Brandt, Boris Chuzoy, Keith Clark, James Lewis Cody, Alvin C. Cohen, Herbert Crane, Horace D'Souza, Lillian Schley Dorfman, Lucille F. Dorfman, Steve Eisendrath, Marcia Feldman, Benjamin Pincus Fireman, Helen Heller Fireman, Samuel Leon Fireman, Molly Bald Fischel, Beverly Benson Gassner, Francis Jabel, Jameson Goldner, Howard Gordon, Adele Hornstein, Hannah Heimowitz, Joel Eisenberg, Olga Eisenberg, Fred L. Karen, Phyllis Kind, June Laxer, Jack Lurch, Marvin E. Lewis Sr., Irving Manber, Catherine Jane Rolfe Metcalf, Susan Nissen, Betty Faye Nusinow, Ted Pincus, Louis Rogalski, Henry Rolfe, Robert Rosenfeld, Louis Rosen, Judith Rosner, Ann Rossi, Fern Renecke, Gerald Enoch Sachs, Otilia Schachter, Malka Schleier, Michal Zella, Sarah Siegel, Sandra Singer, Abe Steinhorn, Lillian Strang, William Streifer, Harry Thames, Olga Tsudokova, Moshe Ehrman, Eileen Weiss, Charles Wood, David Zemeski, and Nikki Zarefsky. If there's someone else who you are remembering who has passed away in the last week, in the last 30 days, or the last year, or this is the yahrzeit, the anniversary of their passing, if you will please share their name when my hand passes over you. And we rise as a community. We are on page 294. Thank you. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, v'yamad divrach rotei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael. B'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen, Yehei shemei rabbah mavarach le'olam almei almaya. Yitbarak v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'gudasha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechamata, damiran bi'ama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high Bring peace to us, to all of Israel, and to all of the world. And let us all say amen.
Amen. Let's turn to page 321 in your prayer book. Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'et nasa v'chefso kol azay melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol levado imloch nora ve'hu haya Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra le'et nasa v'chefso kol azay melech shemo nikra ve'acharei kichlot hakol le'ado imloch nora ve'hu haya Adonai li velo ira, Adonai li velo ira. Madeline.
And Jacob.
Is Jacob here as well?
Jacob is here. They had clock set to Jewish Standard Time. So
Got it.
And so I also just want to remind everybody that we will be doing the October 7th memorial here on October 7th. And we are going to start off, the service is technically going to start at 7. Please register because we are partnering with nearly every synagogue in San Francisco and the JCC and the JCRC. There's going to be a few people here. And from 6:30 to 7, we're going to read all 1,200 people's names. So that'll be done in silence if you'd like to come for that. But the service will begin at 7 p.m.
So let's it is on. Let's join together, everybody, so they won't be shy. And it's a community blessing anyway. And we're on page 5. Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'ratzon inchilanu zikaron l'maaseh זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Raise your glasses high. לחיים.
So I'm going to ask everyone to please make sure you take your prayer books back to the back to the card, because if you see all the Rosh Hashanah books in front of you, that's because they collected thousands of books today. So please don't make them collect any more books and give our team a little bit of Shabbat. So once you get your books in your hands, come and squish down and
Jacob and Madeline here. Let's have you hold the
and
challah.
touch the challah or touch someone who is touching the challah. So come and squish all the way down.
Ba. Come in, everybody get connected. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem midbar b'te'avon.
Shabbat shalom, Shana Tova.